Sean Lennon here with the Pro Wrestling Enforcer podcast. Make sure to check us out. Got a lot of stuff dropping on our YouTube channel. And right now we're gonna welcome Vic, the Ice Vic Capri on PWE. Make sure to check us out as we've got a lot coming up, including Berwyn Championship Wrestling, Holiday Havoc, which he'll be taking on Storm Grayson for the Berwyn Championship Wrestling title. And he's also part of Chicago Style Wrestling, Power Entertainment. He's a veteran of professional wrestling here in the Chicago area. He's also been part of the ICW deathmatch tournaments as well, and is currently the all-heel wrestling Midwestern champion. And we've got to see him on AEW Dark Elevation debut against Tony Neese last month. And we appreciate you being on the show. How are you today?
I'm good. I appreciate you guys having me. I was excited to do this. I know we talked about it once before and things kind of fell through, but I'm glad we finally got to do this.
Same here. And are you excited that you have a big show on Saturday with Berwyn Championship Wrestling? Talk a little bit about that.
Oh, always. Berwyn has become one of those places that is just it's just so much fun to work. Even when it started and now the way things are going, now that Robert Anthony is running things, he's running it really well. I think he's got great ideas, and where he's going with things are just phenomenal. And the mix of local talent that he's using, and not just focusing on one small group. He's kind of bringing everybody, kind of that melting pot from everywhere, from POW, Chicago Style, freelance, you name it. And it's just, it's blowing up right now. It's been great.
Definitely. And you got him coming out on top at freelance when he takes on Craig Mitchell.
Yep.
I assume.
So I'm looking forward. Hopefully Eagle gets back in the ring at Berwyn too. We'll see what happens though. But right now he's just running stuff and he's doing a great job. I have no complaints on what he's doing. It's been phenomenal. Definitely.
Yeah, and then you never know, might see Craig Mitchell come over to Berwyn Championship Wrestling as well. He's been there before.
He's been there before. I actually wrestled him there once before. So it's definitely a possibility. Have him come by. I'd love to see him come back too. I haven't seen him in a while, and it'd be a lot of fun.
Definitely. I mean, you've had a long career in professional wrestling. So as a veteran, what has been your favorite aspect of the business?
Oh, wow. It's a tough question. Just kind of all around. There's so many different aspects of wrestling just in general that, stick with you. The interaction with the fans is always, for someone it's like me, that's pretty introverted overall, and kind of socially awkward at times. Just getting to interact with the fans, whether I'm a babyface or a heel, just making it about, especially the kids, let them enjoy themselves, give them that moment of disbelief and give them a hero to look at or a bad guy to look at. That's what I had growing up. It was before the internet, and you didn't know the secrets of pro wrestling. Vince McMahon didn't come out and say everything was staged or anything like that. So it misses that a lot. Mm-hmm. And so I especially if I'm a good guy or a baby face, I like to try and cater to the kids more, because of the fact that they're the ones that, they're the ones that kind of hold you on that pedestal. The adult fans, they get some things here and there, but it's those kids and trying to make them kind of a fan for life. I've been a fan since second grade. So getting those lifelong fans is not easy, but it's the best opportunity you have for really growing indie wrestling, especially. When I was growing up, I didn't know about indie wrestling. There was AWA, NWA, and WWF, and that was it. I had no clue about anything else. So for it to be much more open for them, it's huge. And being on the indies, you get that much more closer connection with all the fans. That you don't get unless you go to like a house show where there's no time constraints or anything like that for WWE or anything. So it's a huge difference.
And what do you feel your place in Chicago wrestling will be after you hang it up?
I don't know. There's been I've always thought about training people. I just know right now, with as busy as I am, with actually wrestling, it's not something I'm going to do at this point.
Sure.
Between my full-time job and with wrestling, and then family issues, it's just easier for me to wrestle and not to take the extra night to try and go out and train people. I got a buddy of mine in California that's been begging me to come out, move out there, and he's like, "I'll fund it. Let's start a school." So who knows? I mean, it's down the road. I think I've got at least a few more good years left in me, even though I'm almost 50. I think I got at least 3 or 4 more good years. If I can make it to 55, great. And if not, man, I'm having a good time right now. Daughter's older and starting to travel a little bit more and see what happens.
Definitely. And like, given your status in pro wrestling, your opinions are valid. I mean, although you may have some unpopular ones, when you talk about, what your character, Vic Capri, says about the next generation of the pro wrestlers. Can you talk about that more?
I think there's a lot of great talent that's out there. Honestly, I wish some people would. There's a lot of younger talent that they're really into the lucha style, which is great. It's extremely athletic. But to me, it never feels like people are selling, and that's becoming a lost art. But the people who can and combine the two, it's been phenomenal. You see people like Sabin Gage, who is extremely athletic, and he knows how to sell. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He knows what he's doing. I really have, a few times I've been in the ring with him. I really enjoyed it. Trevor Outlaw, when I wrestled him for Berwyn, I didn't know much about him. I saw some stuff, and everything just felt like it clicked really well with him. So I know he gets it really well. Character and who he is on social media and stuff like that, kind of like an MJF,
right?
But he works it really well. He works his character, he works his style, and he knows what he's doing in the ring. So it certain people that I really feel have it. Storm Grayson, I wrestled him a couple of times, or once before, I think. I'm really looking forward to Saturday because I know he's been training really hard, and I know he's just gotten tons and tons better. And we've gotten that first one out of the way where butterflies are out of the system. Now let's go out there and get it, and let's tear it up. So I'm really looking forward to that match. People like Sky Blue, I mean, you can't not mention her right now. She's super hot. She's AEW's using her as much as they can. She's a star. She really will be a big star eventually. It's just wait for them to pull the trigger on it, I think. She's done the stuff with NWA. But then, you have some of the other guys like Marche Rocket that's still out there. That's phenomenal. Super athletic. Brew Baker, CJ Esparza. You got some of the old timers too, like Oz, that can still go out there and work and do a great job. And not only are they entertaining people and having great matches, the younger group is really learning from them. And the more they take away from it, it's going to be good. And then you have people like Mateo, Jay Garcia. He's still a little green. He has some work to do on certain things, but he wants to learn so bad. And every time he steps in the ring, he gets better. He takes everything you tell him to heart, and he tries to improve every time he steps in the ring. And that's what you need. It is once you get that, and you get that from somebody, the sky can be the limit, really. You don't have to be the superior athlete. You don't have to be the Brock Lesnar who's been a double NCAA national champion, that can do shooting star presses at 6 foot whatever, almost 300 pounds. You don't have to be that and have to be that athletic. If you get it, and you move forward with it. Darby Allin's not a big guy, but what he does in the ring and the way he sells, that's kind of what I see with Mateo. He draws the fans in hard, like really deep into what he's doing. They buy into it, and what happens after that is They just want to love him. They want him to win. Chico Suave, he wrestled Shogun Logan. Shogun's a big baby face of Berwyn, and they were booing him. Wow. They wanted, when Chico almost got a pinfall, they booed when he didn't. You know, that's huge. Those are people that get it, and they just draw that crowd in and make them want you to win and be better and get to that top spot. And that's what you have to have. So it's the future of wrestling, especially in Chicago, I think is in really good hands with a lot of people. Eventually, and right now I'm here just having fun, doing my thing, and trying to make everybody I can better and go from there. And if a door opens for me, great. That's fantastic.
For sure. And let's talk about the opportunity you did have recently, which was the AEW Dark Elevation. And how was that experience?
What I've told most people is I did extra work and did dark matches and syndicated matches for WWE in early 2000s. And the atmosphere is night and day, a completely different atmosphere. You walk in a WWE locker room, in the indies, you're trained, you walk up, say hi to people, shake their hands. You do that at AEW, it's fine. You did that in WWE or WF back then, they looked at you funny. You know, so it's the guys, it also is a little different. Like, I've wrestled Christopher Daniels, who's one of the producers. I've wrestled BJ Whitmer, who's a producer. I've wrestled Jerry Lynn, who's a producer, who's a coach. You know, I've wrestled Cabana, who's there. You know, I've wrestled a bunch of the guys that have been there, because they've all been on the indies, and they get it. They get it, and they're not selfish about it, because they know what they did to get where they are, and it's been much more recent than some of the guys in WWF. So you totally run into a different atmosphere when you go there. Much more friendly. People are willing to talk to you. You know, I came back from my match and I asked somebody what they thought, and Mark Henry had turned around and said, "Hey, I got some notes for you if you want to listen."
Nice.
Of course, absolutely. And he started telling me a few things, and I'm like, "I should have done it here and here." He goes, "Yes." He goes, "You get it." I'm like, "Yeah." And I started getting mad. He goes, "Don't beat yourself up. You just do it next time." But that's what I do every show. Every time I wrestle, I do that, and I blew it. I didn't do what I normally do, and so I beat myself up on it. But people are willing to help you, and they want to see you get better. So that's what's important. It's what they do there is they've got their main guys right now. They're grooming the next wave. Then they're grooming the next wave after that. And they're going to groom the next wave after that. It's not going to be, you gotta, I'm not losing my spot to you. Screw you. I'm not going to. I know Shawn Michaels said a change of heart. He's been great from what I've heard in NXT. There's a lot of times he didn't want to lay down for anybody. There were always three-way matches for the title when he had already vacated it, because he didn't want to put anybody over. Hunter was the same way for a while too. You know, there's those things. Both of them have learned tremendously, I think, and I think it shows in the product, especially at NXT before they made the changes now when Hunter's been out. NXT I thought was fantastic. It was by far the better product out of any of the three that WWE was doing. They didn't showcase it enough. I think it deserved more time, and I think it could have blown up a lot more, and I think it would have helped them a lot more than what's going on for right now. But that's my opinion, and I'm no genius. I don't, I'm not the billionaire, but that's just my opinion.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I got you. And it was nice to hear, because I know you said something about the commentators. They were very well. Big Show was a commentator, and
it was really surprising when I watched the match back and I heard the commentators. WWE never really did it. They actually send you a questionnaire and say, "Hey, tell us names and moves and stuff like that, what you want it called if you're going to do it. Keep things about yourself." And I didn't put Ice Pick down. And Excalibur mentioned me as Ice Pick.
Yeah.
Eddie Kingston mentioned me. I never put anything about being a Chicago legend. I don't care for it really. It's just kind of a modest thing with me. I guess it's not my thing. But Eddie Kingston said it, and it was like, that wasn't in the questionnaire. So it was one of those things. And that's why, like, I messaged Pug to say thank you for me. And then I made sure I tried to say thank you on Instagram and on social media and tag them in it. Hopefully they saw it. I don't know. But I mean, it was something that really got me. It got me a little choked up when I heard it, to be honest with you. I was honored.
Definitely. Great experience, and hopefully you'll get more of those opportunities as well. And you did mention the early days of those WWE. I know you took on Crash Holly and Just Joe. And so early on in your career, were you kind of like a deer in headlights, you know, doing these matches? I mean, you were like right out of training, right? Almost.
I think it was about a year and a half, almost 2 years in, when I had my first match against Joey Legend, or Just Joe. And it was funny. Jack Doan, who I had met at a indie show, was the referee for the match. And as we came out through Gorilla, as we were walking out, he goes, "You nervous?" I said, "No, I'm okay. I do this every weekend. No big deal." We walked through the curtain and I saw everybody, and I just went, and I just kind of looked at him and went, "Now I'm nervous," and put my head down and walked to the right. And it was just like, whoa, this is completely different. So and then after that, it was just kind of just go with the flow with it. I think it was kind of a little the same with AEW, because it had been so long since I did something like that. And the reaction from the crowd was another thing. You know, I kind of tried to drown it out, but hearing the reaction from a lot of the people, because back then I was only 2 years in and it wasn't as well known.
Right.
There wasn't the internet. People didn't know who I was as much. And now I've been wrestling a lot more, and the reaction from the crowd. And I didn't tell anybody I was doing it or I was invited, except for the people I knew that were going to be there. And so when the crowd reacted, and then I got back in my phone, I had tagged in like 20 different things on Facebook and on Instagram and everything, and my phone was going crazy. It was like, oh wow, I didn't think this many people were here. So it's one of those things that just kind of it makes you feel good about yourself and what you're doing.
Nice. And then when you encounter someone, you know, who questions the legitimacy of what you do, you know, without, you know, knowing the miles traveled and the blood, sweat, and tears, you know, what do you say to them?
Pay your dues. You know, we do this. There's not a ton of reward, especially on the indies when you're starting out. But just keep plugging away. You know, look at people like JJ Garrett. You know, I wrestled JJ, who's pretty new in the business at Dreamwave, and super nice kid. Sorry about the dogs. And now, you know, years later, he's blowing up. He's doing a great job, and he's a great kid. You know, I really look forward to seeing where he could go, because great amateur background. He knows what he's doing too, and it's one of those things. You just got to keep plugging away. Not everybody can be a Cora Jade, you know, and a year or two in be signed and be at the top, doing great in NXT right now. It's phenomenal for her. Some people have to grind, you know. Some people don't get that opportunity right away, but you really got to grind if you want it. And the people who want it will eventually get it. You know, they'll get noticed. You know, JJ is now, maybe he's not on WWE's radar or AEW. He's on GCW's. He's doing well. You know, he's at somewhere I'd like to work, and he's working there. So he's got one up on me there. So it's you grind, you work it out, and things start to happen for you.
Definitely. And talk about Warrior Wrestling, though. That's a promotion that's very sought after, booking for independent wrestlers today. And would you like to work there? Absolutely.
I've been told that Steve, one of the guys that runs it, knows who I am, is a fan of what I've done in the past, I guess.
Okay.
I tried to reach out to him, but I haven't heard anything back. I do understand, you know, he's got I'm sure people are knocking on his door and messaging him left and right. Same thing with Brett Lauderdale for GCW. I tried to reach out to him myself, and you know, these people are probably getting bombarded by people in the indies trying to get a spot on their show. And they got a lot of people on the show that, you know, are good names. Impact, AEW, you know, they can only put so many people that aren't a bigger name on the show. You know, there's only so many spots. So I don't take offense to it when something like that happens. You know, as people are businessmen, you know, they have to do what they have to do. And, you know, I'll never take offense to it. And if they give me a call or respond to me and say, hey, we want to book you, right? You know, do it in a heartbeat as long as I'm not already booked.
For sure. And how do you deal with those minor injuries you might have and keep on performing?
The minor injuries are easy. The minor injuries are the ones that aren't that bad. Just the minor aches and pains, some Tylenol or ibuprofen, a lacrosse ball to work out the knots, the chiropractor, massage therapy, and foam roller, and work everything out as much as I can. It's the larger injuries that take a bigger toll on you. Right. You know, my neck is never going to be 100%, but you know, it's definitely better than it was when I left in 2003. So, you know, things are good. I don't have a lot of pain when there is some problems. Chiropractor hooks me up with a stem machine, some massage therapy. If we have to do ultrasound for something, we will. You know, and we just go from there. I've got my own traction device for my neck to try and do some decompression on it, all that kind of stuff. The tricep injury from last year it's been okay. It hasn't really affected me since the surgery. So those are the two that have probably been the worst, other than the separated shoulder, which can flare up here and there, especially in the winter months when I'm working out. Right. And can be sore after I wrestle and take a few bumps. But for the most part, some of those injuries they're not real nagging. It's the ones that just kind of, it twisted wrong. It's like, that one's going to hurt for 2 days, you know, and trying to work through it that are more annoying than anything else. So keep some Tiger Balm and a lacrosse ball in my gear bag, and try and work the trigger points and everything before I go out there and loosen everything up.
For sure. And, you know, talk more about the match with Storm Grayson. You know, you said he's one of the fastest young talents in the area. You know, you originally had called out Joe Alonzo for this event, but you get Storm Grayson, and, you know, he's just been, you know, one heck of a performer.
I'll get my hands on Joe eventually and slap the crap out of him. But, you know, he deserves it every now and then, runs his mouth a little too much. Overall, he's a good kid, though, to be honest with you. He's a good kid. He knows how to push people's buttons, though. So, you know, he pushes the wrong button, he's going to get smacked, but that happens. Storm, on the other hand, you know, like I said, going into this match like I did with Shogun, I know it's going to be a hell of a match. It's two people that probably the fans may be split down the middle on it again, just like with Shogun. And I'll pay respect when it's due. You know, he gives me a good match, then I'll shake his hand afterwards, hug him. Whoever wins, I'm good with that. He's a hell of a talent. He's been doing a lot of stuff. He got a match with Jay Lethal at the last AEW for Dark Elevation. You know, he's a mainstay at Zello. He's a mainstay at Freelance, I think, as well. So he's definitely made a name for himself. He's a great, really super nice guy. Almost feel bad I got to punch him in the face, but no, Storm's a good guy, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a hell of a match, and I think people should come check it out.
And do you go back and watch like some of the recent matches when you're getting ready for this one to look it over?
I try not to watch too many of my matches just because of the fact that then I end up hating them. I like leaving the ring and seeing how it felt and going with that, because then when I watch it back, I'm like, oh, that was bad. I shouldn't have done that. Right. But for the most part, I'll go back and watch some of them or skim through them. You know, I have a tendency now that I've been doing a lot more where I get the younger guys will send me their match and I'll watch through it and I'll critique it for them. Then I'll watch my stuff as of late, at least. So, it's trying to help out the younger guys is a big thing for me right now, and just trying to help them out. I'm not looking to be the guy anymore. Like I said, if an opportunity comes, I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna take a payday. But I mean, for the most part, like I said, when I came back, when I started after being out with the injuries, my thing was to help the younger guys. And if I can keep doing that and perform well, I'm going to keep going and just leave it that way. So I'm definitely looking forward to wrestling Storm Grayson. I believe I got to wrestle TJ Steele next month for Chicago style. Okay. So that one's going to be real interesting. TJ is super athletic, and we'll see how that goes. I got a few other things going on, Dysfunction and I for All Heel Wrestling for the Deathmatch Championship. So I got a lot on my plate. I had a long run from, I think the second to last week of July until second week of December, where I had a show every weekend or two every weekend. So having last week off was really nice, to be honest with you.
Right.
But and then I got this week and then a couple of weeks off before I have to go back in January and get rolling again. So
definitely. And we know Chicago style, they return on Friday, January 21st. So I'm sure that's exciting. You're one of the main characters of that episodic format.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to see where they go with everything with everything. That's another situation where, Jason Hades is doing a great job there as well. I love the fact that normally those two shows run basically back to back, Friday and Saturday, Chicago style and Berwyn. Just because of the fact that both shows are run really well.
Mm-hmm.
We get a lot of young kids. There's a ton of kids for Chicago style that just drive from Davenport, and they train at Black and Brave, and they just show up without a booking just to see if they can get work, whether it's a battle royal or if there's somebody that can't make it. There were a couple of times I've had to wrestle those guys where I went in the locker room and said to the person, you're supposed to wrestle, can't make it, pick somebody and walk and talk to like 3 or 4 of them and say, okay, you and I are wrestling tonight, get in gear and let's go talk about it and let's get this going. So, I mean, they're professional. Black and Brave definitely does a great job training their guys, getting them ready, keeping them professional, and it's another situation like some of the other guys that are just really hungry and they just want to work, and they'll make the trip and they'll make that grind whether or not they even are booked. They could be coming and make no money and just out of nowhere have a match. So they're doing, a lot of young guys are doing the right thing from certain places, and it's great to see.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I didn't even know about that. I did see you in September. You took on a guy that was a local. Was he also from that school?
Yeah. I was supposed to be wrestling Nick Cutler, and he was ill and wasn't able to make it. And what was the name? Boucher. I can't remember the first name, but Boucher. And I had a fun match with the guy. He was really good. So, they definitely, hats off to Black and Brave with the way they train their guys. They're very professional. If Merrick and Shane or Seth Rollins don't know it, I hold them in high regards for the character of the people that they're producing. I really do, just because of what I've seen coming into Chicago style, just to hopefully pick up a match.
Definitely. And then we got to see you and Chris Logan and in the final of the tournament. Obviously, the tournament was the winner takes you on at the Berwyn Championship Wrestling. So, did you like that concept?
I love it. Shogun is one of my favorite people to wrestle. He's one of those people, kind of like Brubaker and Ace Steel, where we're friends and we know just go out there, be intense, and just hit each other. And that's what we do. There's a lot of intensity. It gives me that same feel back when I used to work Ace all the time, and when I worked Brubaker. It's just going to be a fight, and we're gonna leave with some bruises and some scratches, but we still love each other.
Definitely. Well, we definitely saw that from you and Brubaker, back in July for CSW.
Yeah, Brubaker and I killed each other. I left with a nice black eye and a few scratches.
That was intense. Now talk about, how the pro wrestling Chicago has changed the past decade. We have new promotions that are coming up, but the runs that you primarily are for, which is CSW, BCW, what do they offer that the other promotions don't?
There's a lot of great storytelling that we do in both promotions. And in both of them, like Chicago style has a nice blend because they're bringing in, the young kids come from Black and Brave.
Right.
They're starting to bring some people in from Wisconsin, like Joey Avalon and Sierra. God, I blanked on her name for a minute. That's terrible. And Chicago and Berwyn, it's a nice blend of the people we had at Berwyn before, Chicago style, freelance, and Ego is just making a nice little melting pot. And it's just the storylines we do. They give us some freedom to just kind of develop what we want to do, give us the guidelines on it, and just let us work with it. And if we want to make changes to it and say, I think this will work better, they're open to the ideas. There's and I think that's the main thing. POW is a fun place to work. There's a lot of young kids there that have potential. Some of them have started to branch out, and that's a key. You can't. Gone are the days of what it was like for Windy City, where you signed up there and you couldn't wrestle anywhere else.
Right.
You have to branch out. You can't wrestle the same people every show. You have to branch out and get that mix of what other people do. Nobody, the bad blood in Chicago needs to end, and I think it's starting to finally. You still have some AEW, which doesn't like their people wrestling other places, and they can go away as far as I'm concerned. It's just you have to let people do what they need to do. If you're going to tell me I can't work somewhere else, then you better pay me to stay home. If you're not going to pay me to stay home, then you don't get to say so. So, and that's the way I've always felt, and that's the way I think it should be. So, getting up and going up to Wisconsin, Frontline Pro, ICW, Wicked Effing Wrestling, All Heel Wrestling, some of them may be smaller promotions and just starting out, but you touch a little bit different fan base, and that's what you need to do. That's how you develop yourself, is trying different things with different fans. Right. And seeing how they react. If it doesn't work, then switch it. If you don't keep trying it and see what's going to work, then you're just going to stay stagnant.
Definitely, and I think that's one of the benefits of the wrestling is everybody has their own wrestling promotion they like. Where they like CSW, POW, freelance, BCW, and everybody get to choose which one. It's great to have options.
Yeah, there are some fans that come to all of them, which is fantastic, but there are other fans that don't. So you have to reach those fans. You have to, certain people watch different things. Not everybody wants to go ICW and see an R-rated show where people are swearing and there's light tubes and death matches. A lot of people want to bring their kids and do a PG show, which is fine, But you have to explore as a performer and wrestler. You have to go out and explore and see what's going to work. If you're doing something at an ICW Milwaukee and it's getting over huge, but you can't do it somewhere else, you have to figure out how you can do it somewhere else in a PG show and tweak it so that it does work. And if you can't, then you're losing something. You're losing that fan base. You have to figure out the happy medium of where it needs to be. And the only way you can is really trial and error. You're not going to know if you don't.
You feel like it was kind of risky doing the street fight at CSW just because of that fan base, more like a family-friendly fan base?
I think it could have been risky. I think the way the year and a half, about a year and a half of storytelling that Brubaker and I did with it, there was nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
So I think it fit really well. You know, we gave plenty of warning to the fans. I think that night they made 3 or 4 announcements that it was going to get violent. They were going to see some things that if they didn't want their kids to see it, then they might want to leave before the main event, you know. But people stuck it out, and you know, it's hit or miss. The reaction from the fans though, and the feedback from everybody, and just leaving it all in the ring, and the ovation we got afterwards really just made it all worthwhile. Definitely. You know, we also drew in a few other fans that may not have come to a CSW show, because it is a PG show most of the time. So we brought in some other fans that wouldn't have normally come until they found out, you know, it was going to be, you know, more of a death match kind of match. So it opens that door. And I don't want to speak too soon, but there are some things that are possibly in the works for something else coming up in CSW that we may draw some fans that don't normally come again. So I'm excited about. So I'm looking forward to it.
For sure. So, and I know the ICW, they're doing the show in February in Chicago.
Yeah. Everybody's moving around a little bit now that Chicago's back open. So it really helps out. I'm really looking forward to a lot of the stuff that's going on. I think this year is going to be really big for a lot of people, a lot of companies too. You know, the fan base just in general with indie wrestling and kind of, I don't want to call it like a hex on indie wrestling or looking down on indie wrestling, but just the way it's been in the last few years, and the energy that a lot of the guys put into it, and you get a lot of the guys from AEW that are still allowed to work indie shows, really, you know, put it over and really help it, and really help the smaller companies. And it's something phenomenal that AEW does. You know, they sent people that have worked for Ring of Honor to the Ring of Honor's Final Battle. You know, they're not selfish, it seems like. You know, they want wrestling to be special and big, no matter where or what company it is. They just want wrestling to be in the forefront of everything. You know, and that's something, you know, back in the territory days, you didn't have that. Back in WCW and WWF, you didn't have that. You had that split. You know, they've had the working relationship with Impact. Now they've got the working relationship with New Japan. You know, they're doing stuff with some of the people from DDT and Choco Pro. Some of the girls from Tokyo Joshi coming in. You know, they have all these ties from all the guys being over there, and they're opening the door to. I'm a huge Japanese.
Yes.
I'm a huge Japanese wrestling fan. I really don't watch much of stuff here in the States anymore. I watch AEW, but I live watching Stardom and New Japan whenever I'm doing cardio and old All Japan stuff from back in the day. So it opens that door for a lot of casual fans to really explore what else is really out there. That even now with the internet, I mean, back then we had to trade tapes and everything. You had to find stuff randomly before even our F video came around. You know, you had to do the tape trading online through message boards. So now it's all out there. You know, New Japan has a streaming service. Stardom has a streaming service. There's a streaming service now. DDT, Gambler, Tokyo Joshi, and Noah all on the same streaming service, and it's only like $9 a month. So there's so much more out there that's really worth watching, and if people start to really realize what's out there, I think they'll fall in love with wrestling even more. And it doesn't have, if you like the characters and you want the people talking, that's great. If you just want the athletic portion of it and you want to see people wrestling and want to see it as a sport, watch the Japanese stuff. And that's what I love about it, is it's presented more like it's presented as a sport, you know, and they go out there and they kill it constantly. You know, the G1 Climax just ended. That's a month long of those guys wrestling like balls out, singles matches every other day, basically, and killing each other. And it's my favorite time of the year is watching the G1. It's just amazing, some of the matches you see. So, and the Best of Super Juniors is just wrapped up now, and same with the Tag League. And now going into Wrestle Kingdom, and now they added the third day, and it's going to be a crossover with New Japan and Noah. I mean, that stuff is huge for wrestling. You look outside the United States, you see the AEW opening those doors. Now you see New Japan opening a door for Noah, and all I hope is I've seen what looks like some of the matchups. I really want to see Keno against Ishii. I think it'd be phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope they do it. I don't know if they will, but I'm praying they do. Because I think it would be just a phenomenal match. So
yes.
There's so much going on right now. Wrestling has the potential right now to be bigger than it was back in like the Attitude Era. I think just all encompassing when you roll all of it in, from Indies to Japan to the US. I mean, now AEW still has the ties with AAA. So I mean, there's so much going on. So the door's wide open for a lot of people to really make a mark.
Definitely. Wow, you just blew my mind with that.
Yeah, they announced that. I think that's supposed to be the third day of. Then they released the card now, I think today, for the 2 days of the New Japan Wrestle Kingdom, and the third day is supposed to be a crossover with Noah. I think they released that, talked about that like 2 weeks ago or so, but they haven't announced the card for that yet.
Nice, that's gonna be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely great wrestling. Worth staying up for.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, normally I log in on my computer for work around 6:30, 7 o'clock. So I just go on New Japan World and watch the end of the main event in the morning, and then I catch up everything else later.
Sounds good. Definitely. And my last question is, what do you want to be remembered for?
Being professional.
Yeah.
Being, a great worker. Yeah, if I can. I think I hold my own. A lot of people, owner of Zawa, out of nowhere, posted something about there's no more professional wrestler than me, and he's told me that before, and Zishi's a great guy. I love him. I love working for him. I feel bad we can never get a lot of dates coinciding, because I love the kid. He's phenomenal. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's doing a great thing with Zawa. And when people say stuff like that, or when Ego posts stuff about saying similar things about me with just out of nowhere, and they don't expect it, people don't understand, how like I said, I'm pretty closed off for the most part. I'm pretty antisocial. They don't quite understand what it means to me when they say those things, and they kind of leave me speechless, where all I can really do is like the post, because I don't know what to say. It's truly an honor when people say that about me. And so, especially right now with a lot of personal things going on with my family.
Sure.
I mean, I'll throw it out there. I've been quiet about it. Father has dementia and Parkinson's, and it's been very difficult. So, it took my mind off it doing everything with AEW. But so when people say stuff like that, it means a lot.
Definitely.
So
no, it's fine. Thank you for sharing.
Things have been difficult. Yeah.
I hear you.
I'm okay. Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine, man. No judgments here,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So it is one of those things. It's been really hard on my family. So, like I said, when things like that are bad, it's people don't really understand what it really means when somebody says those things.
Definitely. I appreciate you for sharing that.
Thanks.
And we'll be ready to see you in battle come Saturday. Everybody check out Berwyn Championship Wrestling. I'll post the link on how to get tickets. I'll be there. I haven't been to their shows in a while.
Sorry, I don't want to leave on a bad note, so I'm really sorry about that.
No, it's fine. No, don't apologize. Don't apologize.
So, but I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I'm glad we finally got to, I know we had to postpone it a day and we missed doing it a month or so ago. I'm glad we finally got to do it. I really appreciate it.
For sure. Hopefully we'll get to do something in person soon as well.